What have actual poor people done for anyone? You need money to change lives. Rich people have no interest in you entering their circles. That you do, they don't care. However, they're not gonna help you. That is why when you look at the media, TV, movies, rich people love being portrayed as mean, as ruthless. Because the more you see them as mean and ruthless, because you're so tied to your attachment to the high morality of being a nice person, it will keep you away from attaining something that is a divine right, a divine entitlement, meaning that everyone is supposed to be financially thriving. In 1, 2, 3 months of working on yourself, you can't acquire the sense of entitlement that comes with someone who has generational wealth. As always, this is going to be a masterclass. Today's video is going to be a chit chat. Grab your toasted brioche caviar and your pastry. We're going to have a long conversation. Good morning, my beauty. Mindset is what you need to work on when you come from a financially challenged background. Money doesn't buy happiness. Energy is everything. In today's video, I'm speaking about why rich girls are mean girls. The idea for this video stemmed from the fact that some of my clients actually do not come from money. They have found a way through struggle, through motivation, to acquire wealth, money, riches, whatever you may call it. However, they're still poor. They're poor in that they still carry the karma of poverty, which is why they were born into poverty in the first place. And they also carry some of the curses associated with being poor and having the experience of poverty as a spiritual trauma. They come to me, just like every single one of my clients, because they want to shift their energy. They have observed that they did whatever they could in terms of strategizing, in terms of changing their appearance, in terms of relying on their defense and survival mechanisms in order to get to where they are. However, it's not enough. You come to me as a potion maker who is an energy shifter because you want to get to the root of why you've hit this glass ceiling and you feel like you are in a hamster wheel. The treatment with me is a minimum of 6 months, so you have to renew the potion every month for 6 months. It is, for me, the minimum required for any person who's going to go any type of energy or spiritual transformation, which is going to be lasting. So rich girls are mean. Today's video is sponsored by this potion, another one of my creation. And this client basically has the template of the girl who was born and grew up in a financially challenged environment and who worked her way up to acquire money and have access to material riches. I'm going to speak about my experience as someone who comes from money, and I'm going to explore the various types of persona or characters that would come from money but from different cultures, and someone who also chose to run away when I was 17 after my high school diploma and go as far as possible. I moved to the US, to a place where no one would know me, to experience my own share of scarcity and realizing that your bloodline is either a blessing or a curse, whether you are rich or poor. Keep in mind what I just said in the beginning. Rich girls are mean. Rich girls are spoiled. Not brats necessarily, because the brat character is one that the media has played a lot. But keep that in mind, somewhere in your mind. Rich girls or rich women are mean. We're gonna speak specifically about mindset today, because mindset is what you need to work on when you come from a financially challenged background. And if you don't work on that, all of the work that I do as an energy shifter with the potion treatment can go down the drain if we don't work on your mindset. Because what a woman like me or any other woman who comes from financially thriving upbringing has over someone who does not is an innate sense of entitlement when it comes to experiencing and continuously receiving abundance. The second thing someone who comes from a financially thriving environment has over someone who comes from scarcity is generational wealth. When I speak about wealth, I speak both of the pedigree, the bloodline, but also wealth that has taken years, decades, sometimes centuries to acquire, which is really, really hard to shake, which goes down to mindset. Someone who has that generational wealth, who's used to that, who's seen that, the way their parents, the way their acquaintances, their social circles, the people they associate with are going to speak about money is completely different. And it makes the crucial pillar of always having money on a revolving basis, which poor people don't have. Now let's speak about my background and let's speak about all of the types of people who come from money have in common. Nowadays, vulgar people, I'm using the word vulgar not as the way nowadays vulgar people will call it. The word vulgar today has come to mean for regular people who have no knowledge of etymology or any knowledge of the root of words. Vulgar comes from the Latin vulgaris or vulgus, which basically means common people. And you have to come from a certain pedigree to have gone to a certain types of schooling or education to even have knowledge of what a word's etymology would mean and to have basic knowledge of things like Latin. But words are important. I've spoken extensively about the magic of words, why we use mantras, why some words are used by prayers in one culture or another, because words carry energy. So when you're using a word without knowing its roots, etymology, why it was created in the first place, you're misusing the word. So vulgar people, not meaning that people who are unsophisticated, lack elegance, and lack proper manners, common people are going to nowadays make a distinction when it comes to fashion in order to identify someone who comes from money and someone who does not. The popular word today, if you go on Pinterest, it's all over, it's called old money. So you have this dichotomy between old money and new money. Old money basically representing today a fashion style. So my background, my father was in diplomacy and he comes from a lineage, a bloodline, a pedigree, which has its roots over 1,000 years ago in being part of the royals. So I was raised already with that in mind, in our mannerism, in our habits, and in the way education was really put forth, knowing everything about everything, being knowledgeable, being able to go to any type of court and being able to speak fluently on a specific topic. This for us is old money. Old money means pedigree. Pedigree means tradition, history, being able to trace where you come from and why you're supposed to do certain things, having certain missions. My father passed away when I was about 11 years old, and my mother remarried with a man who was in politics, which you would call nowadays new money. However, we're talking about Africa, understanding that already for every African person who has knowledge of their pedigree, there is an innate rejection of what most vulgar people, common people, would consider to be today's old money. What we consider pedigree, or what you see as Europeanized or Western style of old money, which is mainly Europe. As Africans, we have a shared history of blood, slavery, colonization, the exploitation of our resources, our wood, our mineral resources, our precious stones, our uranium, our people. So when we see what regular, common, vulgar people see as European old money, for us on the inside, there's a disdain, a natural disgust for that. So an African person who has a pedigree would never want to look like a westernized or Western European old money. The psyche is what you have to keep in mind. People with pedigree in Africa, you would say people, in my culture, you would go to, to the Hausa in Nigeria, you would see a commonality of people who know their history and knew that they were part of the higher courts historically, before colonization, before slavery, and they keep that heritage. Now, if you go to European pedigree people, you're going to have also this notion of a disdain or disgust towards anyone who does not represent their values, their etiquette, their elegance codes. And this is a modern way to discriminate between who is old money, like you would say, who is new money. Because a new money person is going to be eclectic, visible. They're going to need to scream out loud with the way they present themselves that they have money. Because one, they don't have the etiquette, the codes. And two, they don't have the proper roots, the safety, this feeling of I belong, the entitlement. So they're supposed to find a way energetically to build it up so that people can see, acclaim them, and accept them as you're rich. Someone who has a lineage of wealth doesn't need to do that because they know from a mile away, they can sense who has that and who has not, regardless of where they come from. They're going to have common shared experience, and at the end, a deep respect and understanding and honoring of tradition. If you go to the Middle East, you would see that in Qatar, there's a tradition of raising, breeding, and the culture of falcons. When I was young, with my family, we would go hunting. There was the hunting season. If you go to the house in Nigeria, you have a tradition there of horseback riding. So it's not really much different from what you would see in Western European pedigree communities. However discreet they are, horseback riding, hunting, and anything that has to do with the arts, with culture, with being a philanthropist and participating in the tradition of something that is from the past. And this is really what people who don't come from money will not have. When it comes to value, and this is something that I talk with my clients, whom from the get-go, even if I don't scan them spiritually, I can see that they don't have a pedigree. What is lacking is that entitlement. Let's come back to what I told you before. Rich girls are mean. Rich girls are spoiled. There's a sense of entitlement, and you would see, even if you look at your social media, for example, look at the comment section. You will notice that the comment section of most videos that you come across are from people who are of humble circumstances, humble social and economic context. Those are the people who comment. Those are the people who police other people and judge other people. They will tell you in the comment section when seeing, for example, a video of a celebrity, they would say things like, oh, she's so relatable. Though this rich girl is so polite, I like her because she's so polite. Poor people were raised to honor, to find a high morality value in working hard, being respectful, obeying the rules, a sense of being normal, when in reality, what does it mean to be normal? If I go to Singapore, the norm in a specific community is completely different from the norm if I go to Kenya, if I go to India. In some places there's a caste system. In some places there are arranged marriages, which are still amazing and who have and breed a lot of success for those families. In some cultures, it's about complete freedom to be whomever you want to be. So there's no sense of a norm. The norm is what your circle is about. What is the norm in your community? But the difference is the people with a pedigree, the people who are thriving financially, don't have time to impose. They actually do not want their manners to become the norm, the actual norm. The people who want to show up on your screens as being relatable are the people who want something from you. Either they want to solidify their image and gain more fans, or they're trying to sell you something. Ultimately, everyone who shows up on a screen today's number one resume is selling you something. Some of them are selling you something with integrity, with truth, with honor. Others are just trying to scam you. Or others just feel entitled to show up on your screen because they know on the inside they have the mindset of you're lucky to see them in the first place. So them showing up on your screen is actually a gift to you, not the other way around. So people who come from humble beginnings love the notion of normality. Oh, this person is so normal for a rich person. Oh, this person acts so normal for someone who has so much success. It's almost like whenever people show up showing you a little glimpse of their life, you need to be reassured that money doesn't buy happiness. But see, this rich person, they still have moral values. So let's come back to what I just said. Rich women, rich girls are mean, spoiled, and entitled, which is what I tell my clients. When you were raised on valuing hard work, because spiritually you were born, you incarnated with a karma of poverty that you had to overcome through energy work, removing curses, because the karma is going to be reinforced by curses and vows in the invisible realm. This is strictly if you consider yourself to be spiritual. Your curses are ultimately what is making you unhappy, making you feel that whatever you desire most is not attainable. The clients who come to me when they get a potion, who come from money, for whom money is not an issue, still experience curses around money or around everything else in their life. Everyone has curses. If their curse was not to be born in a poor environment, they were born in money, they still maybe had curses of never meeting someone who loves them. They may have the curse of only attracting people who only want to take advantage of them. They may have the curse of the rich guilt. And this is found a lot of times when I hung out a lot with people in a region in the periphery of Paris called Versailles, where you had the big history of Versailles, Marie Antoinette, Louis XIV, the Sun King, etc. So this is a region where you have mostly devout Catholic people for generations. Those were the people who are descendants of people who lived around the court when they were still kings. They basically were part of the royal court, their ancestors, I mean, or they're descendants of people who worked there, because in any mansion, court, any rich person's context, there's always people who are laboring around you. I grew up with having my own personal nanny. Each of my sisters had their own personal nanny. We had one chef who cooked every day in the morning, and we had another chef who replaced the daytime chef in the evening, because in the evening we had a lot of social gatherings, and we literally had a catering business in my home, because there were probably about 20 to 30 people every evening who came to eat at my parents' place. We had security guards, my parents had bodyguards, etc., etc. So you can only imagine at the castle in Versailles back then. So the descendants in today's Versailles are people who were part of the court, but also people who were cleaning ladies, cooks, gardeners. They also carry, in that region, in Versailles, the tradition of the people who were sent by the king back then to go around the world in unison with the Vatican to go and spread missionaries to teach mostly indigenous and vulnerable people around the world that they had to be Christians, specifically Catholics. So those are today the people who inherited from this specific energy template and subconscious mindset. So the rich ones, many of them are going to carry the rich guilt. So you're going to have a lot of people who are into donating their time, donating their money. They love to involve themselves in public philanthropy, social causes, helping the poor around Christmas time, things like that. Whereas rich people with a pedigree non-associated with religion do a lot of philanthropy, but most of it is either secret or it is done within actual small social circles, which are usually relating to art. Those are the people who are going to come to me when they have a pedigree. My issue with the clients of mine who come from not having a pedigree and having to pass as rich is that because they don't have that innate mindset, I have to be really careful, because the spiritual work that I do in removing their curses and replacing the vows for vows of money, wealth, and long-lasting generational wealth, which is not done overnight. That's why, again, the minimum with me is going to be 6 months work, 6 potions. Also, my clients stay longer because life with potions is really juicy. But the problem is, when you don't have that mindset, all of the work that I do in removing those curses, remember, karma and curses are easily removed when you know how to do it, of course. However, the mindset is always going to follow up, because it is still your free will to experience life in the way that suits you. So if your mindset is that of money is hard work, you're going to have a lot of money. You can still have a lot of money. However, you're going to be a slave of that money. You're still going to be stuck in that hamster wheel of, I'm still a slave to money. The difference is that before I didn't have any. I was a slave to society, having to work hard to get the money. And today I have the money, but I'm still slaving away to maintain it, to keep it, to make sure I don't lose it. When you have that mindset of hard work, of innately, I don't deserve it, what you do is that you will, within probably 3 or 4 weeks, renew your old karmic vows of scarcity. It's just that the scarcity is going to be wearing a different costume. The costume of, now I have money, but I'm still a slave. I am still not thriving in my money experience. So you're going to renew that karma, and you're going to be on that hamster wheel of always struggling, having the money but not thriving. And you're going to develop because energy is energy. Karma is the breeding ground of curses. You're going to attract all of the people and circumstances that are going to prove to you that yes, money is hard. You have to continue to work hard for money. You have to continue to prove yourself to money. Which brings me back to what I just said. Keep that for the whole video. Rich women are mean. Rich women are spoiled and entitled. When I was still a little girl, and I'm thinking 3-4 years old, my father had the habit of putting a whole bunch of money in his car. You know, in the car, like when you're driving and you have the passenger seat, and then, you know, of course, as a child, I was in the back most of the time. Many times my dad let me sit in the front when he was riding. But in between the 2 seats, the person who's driving, the pilot we call it, and the person sitting next to them, there's usually a little box that you open. My father put 2 things there. He put a lot of money and a lot of candy. There was also a lot of bills, but when you're 3 years old, at least me, bills meant nothing for me. It was just paper. However, I was fascinated by the fact that I could just put my hand and grab like a whole bunch of coins. I used to call them gold and candy. Instead of having a driver driving me home, my dad would really make a point of, in a very clumsy way, do my hair. So he would just like really clumsily do it, but this was a really big bonding time for us. He would tell me in front of the mirror how gorgeous I was, what a princess I was, how lucky he was to have me, how lucky everyone was to breathe the same air as me. So we would just spend time as he was doing my hair in front of the mirror, practicing mirror magic. I didn't know anything about it. I practiced that even when I went to the river with my great-grandmother, looking at my own self in the mirror. Father would just, we would just talk, and he would tell me how gorgeous, how amazing I was, how a princess I was, how smart I was, how intelligent and unique, how a gift to the world I was. And he would drive me to school every day. So this was our ritual. So I got in the habit from maybe being 3 or 4 years old to get money and take it, have it in my hand with my little backpack, and distribute money in my schoolyard. I did that until my father died when I was, like I said, about 11 years old. This is something that I did every day. And every day, without fail, I would look at that little box and it was full. It was replenished. We never talked about it with my dad. I didn't know what was going on. But now that I think about it, he was replenishing the box every day because it was always full. It was always full of money. And this is the mindset already of, I'm used to seeing a lot of money. I'm used to not knowing where the money was coming from, but knowing that it was there. After my father passed away, I was living with my mom, my stepfather, my siblings. Same thing. I would always go to my mom's purse, and it was usually, a brand, even dresses. I remember she had this Ferragamo dress that I would just put my hands in the pockets, and there was always money. I used to take money personally and go through her stuff when she was not around, or when she was around, she would tell me, go get some money because we have to pay the gardener or whatever. And I would just go and grab a whole bunch of bills, not knowing how much it was worth, and give it to her. One time she told me to go buy bread with the driver. I didn't know how much bread cost. I took the equivalent of maybe 20 euros and in several bills of 20, and I got like a stack of money like this, and I went to buy, and I said I want 2 baguettes because I had no knowledge of the value of money, because money was just always there. My experience of money in my building years was that there's always more. I don't know where it's coming from, but there's always more. That entitlement has nothing to do with anything that vulgar, common people would call normality. Because is this the norm for maybe someone of a lineage of pedigree, or someone from South Asia, from India who has money, or someone from Europe or the US or Brazil? Would they have the same experience? Not specifically. However, there is a commonality in the notion that money is just there and there's always more. Wherever it comes from, there's always more. This, when I went to study in the US, I realized really helped me, even though I had other curses to overcome in my journey of initiation. I started to do regular people jobs because I left my country and my family saying, bye, I'm not coming back. I wanted to make myself to be free, because there was some aspect of being of a community, of a family, that felt like an imprisonment for me. So I had a thirst for freedom. I went as far as I could. For me, it was either, from Africa, you either go there, the US, or there, Asia. Far west, far east. I picked the US. So I started working, doing jobs as a waitress, tutoring. And I remember as a waitress, I started working for cash because I was an international student. I was not supposed to work, but I needed to have money. And I told my family, I'm gonna make it without you. My family was like, yeah, she's gonna be back. She's rebelling, she's gonna be back. So I had this thing of, I need to make something of myself. I could not go back with my head low. So I took a couple of jobs to help me pay for everything. I also had a scholarship, a merit scholarship, because I had good grades. So my government was supporting part of my studies. So I did have help. It was a merit scholarship, which was given to students based on their results. So the US was the most prestigious one, but other kids in my country would go have scholarships in England, in France. It was very common, in South Africa, in China. So I would go and get a job as a waitress. I had seen wait staff working in my family, in my home, for my entire life. So I kind of had the codes already. I kind of knew what was supposed to be done, how you were supposed to serve. And so my managers would just, within usually a couple of days or 3 days, would say, okay, you go to the front because you're posh. They told me that I was posh. And the way I was serving and whatever, because I was respecting the codes of, serving to the, which side you would serve, a specific person, on the, the table matters, the etiquette. I knew that already. And I wasn't messy in the way I showed up and portrayed myself. So at every single situation that I had an innate upgrade because of that mindset of opulence that I carried because of my pedigree. Even though I was overcoming other curses, I was working on myself spiritually, which is the most important. It's the core of everything. If you work on your energy, if you're balanced and harmonized, then everything else is going to feel like a breeze. It's going to be easy and pleasurable. Because your inner self, when it's fed and nourished, everything else flourishes around you. So I never felt poor. Even when I didn't have physical money, I never felt not beautiful because I was raised being told that I was. I never doubted that. So I had the way I showed up was with an innate sense of entitlement, which rich women, rich girls are mean, spoiled, entitled. There are things that people could not tell me, even my boss or my coworkers, things that they could not tell me because of the way I carried myself. And I had innate boundaries from the way I carried myself. I never demanded to be respected, but because I showed up with that sense of course I am there. So you're not going to treat me less than that. So it's not arrogance, it's an energy and a subconscious mindset. The clients who come to me, sometimes because they've watched videos, they've gone, actually the one that ordered this, I believe, or one of them had even a coach, a self-development coach, to feel that entitlement to riches. And it showed up in her life as arrogance. This is again toxic masculinity, misguided for fashion. I'm gonna buy feminine clothes and this is gonna make me feminine. Yet your energy is completely in survival mode. Your aura will never lie. When you're in a state of panic, meaning when you're passing for someone you're not, when you're passing for a feminine woman, when you're in fact a bruised masculine woman, when you are passing for a rich woman because you have access to cash, but you don't have that pedigree, that innate mindset, that energy of wealth, you pass as, but you're still a poor girl disguised as rich because you're wearing expensive clothes. Energy is everything. So this client of mine, she was passing, so she appeared arrogant. She would display her achievements to anyone who was willing to hear her. She would tell men that she had achievement, that she had money. This is what I bring to the table. I am educated, college degree, I work in this firm, I'm doing this and this and that. She had to explain her achievements in order to demand love, attention, respect, and attraction, which doesn't work like that. When you are something, you can't lie. Your words can lie, your soul cannot. Your energy cannot. You sound and you appear phony to everyone. Just like a Russian new money who is ostentatious with their way of displaying their wealth is gonna look down on an old money British person who's into poise, elegance, and discretion. They don't come from the same word. But the difference is that both of them, the oil Russian oligarch and the old money or pedigree British person, if they have access to money, they are able to evolve in their own world and still thrive in their own community, because there's no such thing as normal or normalcy. What is common if you're a woman who wants to become wealthy is that money, cash, will not buy you pedigree. However, your energy is going to buy you that innate sense of entitlement that normal, regular rich girls have because this was passed down to them from generation to generation. In 1, 2, 3 months of working on yourself, you can't acquire the sense of entitlement that comes with someone who has generational wealth, who's evolving in that. In my situation, I was not in scarcity for a long time because money found ways to find me. Opportunities found ways to find me. People were chasing me with offers, even when I didn't grasp where it was coming from. And this is purely on mindset. Because like I said, my curses were other types of curses. My mission is the mission of someone who's supposed to help women awaken to their sacred sensuality, to heal their wounded femininity through using tools, which are potions and the rituals that I teach. This is my mission, but in that, I'm going to touch women who can afford beyond what I do and women who want to acquire status and money and the ease of money. Ease of money does not mean ease of life, but that entitlement is really what makes a woman of a pedigree different from a woman who doesn't. We like to go to Saint-Tropez during the summer. We go as a family. My daughters are teenagers, 14, 15 years old, and they're, I guess, regular teenagers with what they consider to be normal. And I noticed, we're going to the Dior Cafe, and I just noticed how they never felt any sort of block towards them being and evolving and feeling normal there. They went to that store dressed like teenagers, going around, roaming around, looking at things, trying on things, and never really feeling like they don't belong there, because they do. It's not, once again, about your origin. It's about who you are. Your pedigree will always come first when you go to certain places. That's why I did the Soft Life Manifestation Planner. It helps a lot of my rich clients because they have other issues. They have issues with keeping a man. They have issues with attracting a man. They have issues of money guilt. They have issues of lacking purpose, feeling soulless, feeling lonely and empty on the inside. They have issues with trauma, with overcoming family secrets, things like that. But the planner helps my clients who don't come from money a lot with challenging their mind to getting used to being and going to environments of opulence where maybe before they were just exposed to the need of just having money, accumulating money to have food, to have freedom, but they can't even say most of the times precisely why do they want to be rich? Why is having money crucial in their development and fulfillment? So the planner is really important, and I would really recommend this. This is really something, a product that I really vouch for everyone who is on a journey of transformation, because it's going to help you with that mindset. It's going to help you challenge yourself, because you are competing in terms of money attraction, wealth attraction, lifestyle change, being comfortable, even as you being a rich person, even if you have money, but being rich and loving the experience of it without feeling the need to copy. Because what happens a lot, I've seen that with my clients, is that they copy what they see on social media as, oh, I have money now, so it means I have to go skiing in St. Moritz, or I have to go to the Bahamas, or I have to go to such place, because they see on social media certain people with money who are displaying this glimpse of their lifestyle, because they haven't acquired the palette of sophistication. So they haven't tested what exactly do they like. Like I said, I come from a background where it was customary to hunt, even though nowadays I don't live there anymore. For me, I would go to a polo match, good, but I don't come from a horseback riding community upbringing. So it would never touch me. I would never pretend that I know the rules of horseback riding, that I know how to dress. I would not pass as someone who understands and really thrives, who's really passionate about polo game, because I'm completely bored. I go there to drink, an actual non-alcoholic cocktail, and because they have nice food. Really, pretty much, it's a show for me. I would have more fun going to the opera, actually, than going to a polo match. So if I just saw on my social media that the moment I have money, I'm supposed to go to polo, or for example, I don't like to ski. We go to ski, but I don't like it. So I never actually ski. My daughters ski, the people I go with ski, my man skis, but it's not for me. I never liked it. I went to ski the first time in Switzerland when I was 9 years old. I didn't like that. I never liked it. I skied in the US. I went to Aspen. Didn't like it. I like to ice skate. So you have to know what is your money language. But for that, you have to practice enough, because how can you measure up to someone who's been exposed to so much? Not even speaking about me, but even me at my level, because there are people with more opulence than me, of course. But even at my level, how can you compete with someone like me, who my daughter is the captain of the chess club since she was probably 7 or 8 years old. She plays chess like this, How can you compete when you're trying to change completely your life and change your lineage, your descendants, so that you're actually building generational wealth? It has to come with that mindset. And I'm going to end the video by reminding you that rich women are mean, spoiled, and entitled. The vulgar people, common people who comment on social media because they need their celebrity or the rich people they're following to have a layer of relatability, are in an illusion on their own, because rich people have no interest in you entering their circles. That you do, they don't care. However, they're not going to help you do that. It's not of their interest. Rich people don't have any interest. That is why when you look at the media, TV, movies, rich people love being portrayed as mean, as ruthless, because the more you see them as mean and ruthless because you're so tied to your attachment to the high morality of being a nice person, it will keep you away from attaining something that is a divine right, a divine entitlement, meaning that everyone is supposed to be financially thriving. You don't need to have a pedigree to be entitled to have money. You don't need to belong to a certain privileged circle in order to deserve to have money. However, what they have that you don't have is that, yes, when I go to a store and whether or not I'm dressed in a way that shows my pedigree, which is kind of an oxymoron, I go there knowing that I belong there and that whomever comes to me is wait staff. So I wouldn't give them the time of day unless they're here to serve me, because it is their job to serve me. A salesperson is supposed to serve you. A waitress is to serve you, not to be your equal in that status. All humans are equal. However, society is divided by an invisible caste system, and that invisible line is drawn by your energy, your entitlement to be there. You go to a place as someone who may have the money to buy it or someone who is used to it. There's a difference. I've gone to the Louis Vuitton store, flagship store, when I lived in Paris, in the Champs-Élysées, and you would see the difference between the people who are there to shop. You can tell they either saved a lot of money or they came, going to Paris is the trip of their life. You would see a lot of Americans, a lot of people from Dubai, or a lot of people from Asia, from China, who have lots of money to spend there. And I may even dare to say, who are today probably the core business of those luxury brands. However, from the way they go there, they wait online for like an hour before getting ushered into the store. And someone who may or may not even want to buy, who goes there and who has the allure of a modern day countess, or someone who has that, who is rich, it's not the same. They will not be served the same. If I go to a store, can I help you? Yes. Do you have something to drink? I'm a little thirsty. They bring me something to drink. And then I roam around and I may say, I'm not interested in anything today. And I walk out. It would look probably impolite for some people because I was born and raised having wait staff catering to me all my life. I did have a Christian upbringing, a Catholic upbringing, so of course I'm going to be polite, but I'm not going to go out of my way to show that I am so nice. What do I have to prove? That entitlement makes you mean and spoiled because that's all you know. And when a woman who recently acquired money or wants to acquire money is on her manifestation journey, this is what she's lacking. She's going to go off on content about gratitude, have a lot of gratitude to attract more money, because the people who are teaching you that, the internet gurus, know that they're going to get most of their money from poor people who want to manifest riches, because rich people don't buy those courses. Rich people don't need gratitude to have money. So a rich girl is always going to be entitled, spoiled, and ultimately mean, or at least appear to be mean for someone who's of the common people, for whom their upbringing is about bending over as a way to show that, yes, I'm nice, I'm respectful. Go to Asia. I've traveled to Asia. I love Thailand. But what do you see? Japan. Travel to Japan. What do you see? The lower someone bends over shows that they pay homage, respect to you. They want to show you how much you are facing them. Not that you are above them as a human being, but to show reverence. And you would notice that the people who bend over more are not the people who are considered themselves or are considered above. I think I've explored this topic quite extensively. Again, chit chat video, mindset mostly. Work on that and challenge yourself. That's really what's going to make you quantum jump, quite literally, your inner transformation. Because staying on the comfort zone of I'm a nice person, wherever I go, I'm gonna be polite in all the right ways, and I'm going to be so grateful, and I'm going to wake up every day and say thank you. No, you're grateful for a few things. One of them is that your body is functioning and you're breathing without having to say, my heart, pump some oxygen through the blood. No, you have to be grateful for being alive, being grateful for having a beautiful sky, for breathing fresh air. Be grateful for the things you can control. However, your mindset and where you choose to go to so that your eyes get used to, get entitled to what they're used to seeing, that's on you. It has nothing to do with being grateful. And that's why the mean rich girls are always going to be above the nice poor girls who only have their good mentality, good morality as a way to put themselves to sleep, thinking, okay, at least I'm a good person because those people are mean. You don't know people's hearts. You can be a cold-looking, spoiled, entitled person, but actually contribute more to uplift a community or help people. I mean, what have actual poor people done for anyone? You need money to change lives. If you're still struggling with your own mindset, you're still in the waters of scarcity, you are no good for no one, except maybe a group of angry activists, feminists, and humanitarian whatever people who are like, yes, we are the poor and the oppressed. Yes, you can be the leader of that. But really, who are the people who are contributing to development? The people who are donating a lot of stuff in secret? And ultimately, what drives this world, this earth that we live on? It's money. If you haven't mastered the art of being entitled, loving your money experience, you're useless in this incarnation. This is something you need to get out of, regardless of where you were born. If you're born poor, it's your karma to overcome it as fast as possible. For that, you have to focus. Focus. Stop being distracted. Most rich people I know don't own social media. The people who do have an interest in being on social media and making money off of it. However, they're the ones who are funding at the highest level, the creators, the content creators of social media and whatever. The rich people, even behind the algorithms and stuff, are only interested in the numbers, the economics of it. I would ask my man about my daughter showed me this trend, and he's like, what trend? They don't follow trends. They're not on social media. They're either enjoying their life on vacation or making a business deal or making, in one way or another, making their money work. The people who stay on social media, the big fans, the followers, and the whatever, are people who have a lot of time, who come home very, very tired at the end of the day and who need to be distracted because their life, is so hard. They need to escape. The people who are showing you this lifestyle are not themselves 24/7 on social media. Even me, my lowest level, I make content, I post content, and then I move on. I'm not a fan of anyone but me. I love my goddess. My muse is my goddess. I have no adoration when some singer does something and I'm like, oh, she's so beautiful, or she does this. Focus on you being on that pedestal, being that trophy. It needs sacrificing your time, your devotion. It means sacrificing your money, because money calls money. Everything has a price. Everything you get for free keeps you in the same space, same thing. Money even buys you love, because it buys you the training to shift your energy so that you become the most lovable version of yourself. This, your parents have not taught you, regardless of whether you're rich or poor. However, when you're rich, you can hire someone like me who fix your energy, who can harmonize you. If you don't have money, all you know is generational curses, generational patterns of toxic behavior, and living out of fear, living off my trauma, experiencing emotional triggers, and ultimately only manifesting what I've seen around me, which is either betrayal, mediocrity, average relationships and situations, boredom, distraction in things that don't bring you anything, status quo. Again, this video is sponsored by this beautiful potion made by me. 28 days, 28 nights of labor, of love, and huge, huge, huge energy activation. So I love you, and I see you in my next video. Close your eyes, say it with me. I'm entitled to manifest lavish imperial opulence. Breathe in. Let it sink in and feel what it actually means to be living lavish imperial opulence on your own terms. Take care. See you soon.